Today we're going to talk about consumerism. What is consumerism? Well, consumerism is the belief that people's happiness requires purchasing services or goods in an increased amount. In the Industrial Revolution, particularly in the 20th century, the mass of production led to an overproduction. That means that the supply for the goods it's going to grow beyond the client's demands, and that took the sellers, the producers, to try to manipulate the clients in order to sell their products. In a consumer's culture, there is no such a thing as a good smartphone or a functional smartphone if there is a new released iPhone, because everybody would want to buy it.
When we see something that is apparently cheap, haven't you ever thought about why is that so cheap? Or either, haven't you ever thought about, is it really as cheap as they want us to believe? Fast fashion is a huge problem which injures human rights and environment. Behind a cheap cloth, there are big environmental costs. There are some famous brands that only takes 14 to 21 days to launch a whole collection, and it means that new trends are created week by week. It causes that tons of clothes become irrelevant. They become trash. The environmental consequences are pretty bad, since the majority of those items are made by polyester, and that polyester comes from petroleum, and that petroleum requires a lot of fossil fuels. Forbes magazine came out saying that just in 1 year, 10 millions of barrels are used just to make clothes. Polyester poses a threat to the environment, since it is not biodegradable, and it can take 20 years to 200 years to degrade, and is also one of the main responsible for microplastic in the ocean. Many factories and brands found out that creating clothes from polyester is more cheaper than creating clothes from cotton, and it is because manufacturing plants is more expensive. Besides that, the material is even worse and pollute more. When we wash our polyester clothes, they shed fibers that ended up in the oceans. Another problem that comes from fast fashion is the huge increase of waste. The fashion industry is the 8th more polluting industry in the whole world, and it is also responsible for spreading greenhouse gases and creating over 90 million tons of waste, physical waste, and it keeps increasing every year.
I have two solutions for this. Obviously there are more, but I'm going to give you two. The first one is stop copying people. What I mean with this, that if your neighbors, if your friends, if your best friend is buying this thing, think about why you want that. Do you want it because they want it, or do you want it because you really need it? Or do you want it because everybody is buying it? And then it's going to answer your question. If you say that it's because everybody wants it, not because you need it, it's better to not buy it. Another solution is to question everything you buy, even if it's free. Why even if it's free? Because not everything that it's free is good for the environment. So you need to think and question yourself, do I need this? Where I'm going to put it? I have something that is still working that can replace this? And then if the answer is yes, then you shouldn't buy it. And if you think that you don't need it, then why are you trying to buy it? And if you think that you don't know where to, put it, then it's not necessary.